Hey guys, how you doing? It's been a while, but the reason why I wanted to make this video or talk about it is because lately, I've been on LinkedIn as well as some Facebook community posts that I've seen about layoffs. And as most of you guys don't know, I was laid off earlier this year in January. And I wanted to make this video for just sharing my story, and maybe it helps out somebody that's going through the same experience that I went through, or just having those thoughts going through your head while it occurs. And basically I just wanted to help anybody out by sharing my story. And so, I was laid off by DirecTV. And what's different about DirecTV is that I was hired as an hourly person, but also had a contract on it. It was like a 1-year contract. I don't know, it was kind of weird, but like the way the recruiter explained to me, it was like, that's the way DirecTV does it, just because it saves cost. And I wasn't a 1092, which is a contractor. I had a 1-year contract with DirecTV, and then they decided to terminate it in January. And I kind of knew they were going to do it early, just because the economy in 2024 wasn't great. And also I was looking at their sales, I was looking at the purchases, the returns, and the SEO was changing too with all that stuff, AI, and I don't know, a whole bunch of things where when you're about to be let go or not, because the work also slowed down significantly. And again, I can tell more about my experience for working for like a company like DirecTV in another video if you guys want to, but I just want to keep this really kind of short, because I kind of knew going November to December, just work slowing down, and it was the holidays. I don't get paid holidays either, so I kind of knew I was getting let go in a way, or maybe about to get let go, because I kept transitioning to different jobs. So originally I was hired on to work on SEO and some social media stuff for DirecTV, just because their team just didn't have enough people doing the work. Because especially with GA4, I don't know if you guys know about that, but it's an analytics tool. And I was there kind of be like a middle person, just to help out with all those off tasks that the new manager was trying to implement, and trying to get reporting and all that stuff. And so that was basically my job in the gist of it. Of course, there was other things, I helped out with, I was helping product team and engineering team and tracking and all that stuff, but I don't want to get too technical. And the beginning was great, man. But like I said, if you guys want me to make a video about my experience with DirecTV, I will definitely make a video of that. But right now, this is about the layoffs and what happened. And it kind of sucked, though, because the holidays going in, you don't get paid for holidays. So I would, of course, save my money and everything, and hoping for the best. In January, starting to occur. And I think it was like maybe the second week of January or the third week of January. I don't remember, before or after my birthday. But I got a call or a message to them that want to talk to me one-on-one, and it wasn't even DirecTV. It was the recruiting company, because I got the job through a recruiting company. They reached out to me on LinkedIn. I got paid by them, even though I was working for DirecTV, and they were very professional about it. They were like, "There's nothing that this is about you, your work, or anything like that. It's just in terms of like there's not enough work for you to continue your contract services. So DirecTV has decided to end your contract shortly." And it's like my third layoff, so I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But it did suck, and just because I had a baby on the way too, so it was not the best time. And it's my third layoff, so to me it's kind of even harder hitting, especially because of my wife and with family support now. I guess is never easy. And I try to find jobs, because like I said, you kind of know when you get laid off. So I was applying to jobs, but honestly, the jobs don't come until like the spring or summer. So there's not really much in the beginning of the year. There's some you see towards the end of the year, but that's when I started applying, right? So I didn't get hit back up for interviews until like the beginning of January. So it was a whole ordeal, just trying to get those interviews, trying to pass on. And then like when I do pass on the second interview, third interview, they're like, "Oh no, we're halting our position for right now, just because of we have to adjust between the quarterly budget," or something like that. I don't know, some budget stuff this company is telling me about. And it kind of made sense, because in 2025, with the election happening and occurring, things were still uncertain of how the current economical climate was going to be, bullish or bearish, so people didn't know what was going to happen. So that's why I think we didn't see a lot of jobs, or at least I didn't see a lot of jobs hiring, or they did pause their hiring, which is kind of a wait and see kind of thing. So yeah, that sucked. Okay, so I'm a little biased, because I've always talked to recruiters, and I just don't really care what they say, because they make a lot of false promises, man. They make like, "Oh yeah, we can get you this, we can get you that." They're just on a commission, man. There's no ill will for me towards them at all. I just know that's what they are, who they are. They just like to talk. Of course, me being biased, but that's from my experience from when I working with a recruiting company. They always think like they care, but they really don't. Like once you get fired or once they know you're not the best candidate for the job, they just say very politely, oh, we'll be looking out for new jobs for you, but they really don't care. So they give me the whole spiel of like, it's not your fault or anything like that. And yeah, it's basically say goodbye and turn the work laptop and everything like that, and just get the logistics down to do my reports and everything, turning in all that stuff. But anyway, like I said, I was still applying to jobs. I was using LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor. I was using everything that I could. Just the job search sucked. And honestly, it was hard. Like it was a lot harder. I think it was a lot harder in 2022 when I actually got laid off then. And that was my tech layoff. I'll talk about another video on that. But this layoff also sucked because, like I said, the economy, people were very uncertain, or companies were very uncertain of what's going to happen. So not a lot of jobs there. And then the jobs I did go to interview were in person. I was getting kind of desperate, and remote jobs were diminishing as well. So I saw a lot more hybrid jobs or in-person jobs. I was like, screw it. I need a job. So I started applying to those hybrid jobs, those in-person jobs, and did the interviews there. I actually got the interviews, and again, I can make another video in terms of how I did it, what I did to get noticed and all that stuff. And yeah, I took those interviews. And honestly, okay, so this is one of the things too, where like they were lowballing, man. All these companies knew like they had you. I don't want to say this all companies, but like when I was applying, like they were lowballing the salary, man. And I was like, I don't think I can work for that much pay. I mean, that's so little, but like when you need a job, you need a job. So you're like, whatever, dude. Like I'll accept it. Yeah, that's a salary. Cool. I'll move on. I thought I had a good job because I think I was in the last interview, like the fourth interview, the very last one for this one company. And it was like an hour commute, man. It could be an hour commute one way. I've done that prior to my early years when I was working at Fox and Disney. Hour commutes suck one way because then it's 2 hours, you're driving, and just very draining. So I didn't want to do that again, but if I had to, I had to do it. Because like I said, I had a kid on the way, so I do what I gotta do. Anyway, so I was willing to commit to the hour commute, whatever. They promised me, oh yeah, later after you learn, you can go hybrid. And it's fine. For right now, the first couple of days, we want you to be in office. I've always been working kind of remote. But yeah, it sucks though, because like I met the CEO and all the other team members, the higher ups and everything. And the salary was never discussed, by the way. It never was. And maybe that could be my fault. But honestly, during this climate, I felt like if I discussed salary too early, I probably wouldn't advance in the interviews. So when I discussed salary, it was really low, man. And for me, I was like, it's not worth the hour commute. I'm wasting time and gas money too. The pay just wasn't there. And so I decided not to go for that. And I started keeping applying jobs. And always, honestly, like I've been getting interviews at least once a week. To me, getting interviews weren't the problem. It was in terms of trying to find the best job too. Because there's other jobs that like, hey, it's a year contract. Like the same thing for DirecTV, another one, right? And there's a lot of contract jobs out there. And I'm like, well, I can't do that anymore. I can't do that because I don't know if I'm going to let go or not. Because I don't know if like, they hire me. Oh, great. I got the first job and my baby's bored. And then like, hey, sorry, we don't need you no more. And then I'm back to the job search. And honestly, springtime and summer is the best time to look for a job. So if I were to get hired and then let go after summer, I would kind of be screwed. I'm like, well, dang, I'm in a worse position than I was early this year where I could just look for other jobs. So that was my mentality going forward. So, I also do run a freelance. I've always been doing this since I ever got into marketing, like a freelance on the side project and everything like that. So thankfully that helped out a little bit with little groceries and budgets here and there. And, I never really built it out. So because that's my fault. I think I should build it out more, get a little more income coming in, passive income or whatnot, however you want to call it. Just get a little bit more side money. But yeah, that saved me a lot when I was looking for a job. But that anxiety of like, now it's been like month 2, like, oh, it's February now. Am I getting closer to getting a job or not? Like bills are starting to pile up. I'm dipping into my savings. My wife is working while she's pregnant, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I was thinking about doing Uber Eats or Lyft or whatnot, just because, there's nothing to do except for interview and all that stuff. And, and I did apply for unemployment, but the process is so long, man. And so by the time I actually got approved through unemployment, I got a job. is actually a funny story. So it's funny because like when you're applying for jobs, you don't know when you're going to get moved up in the interview process for certain jobs, right? Because like for me, applying to jobs is kind of like dating. When I was dating using the app and all that stuff, it was kind of like repetition, right? It was like, oh, you swipe, you talk, you go on dates, so you have another date next week. And the same thing happens with the jobs, right? Where like you apply, you interview, you got another interview next live for next week. You see my calendar, it was just like interview. Like basically I had an interview at least once a week, and it was different stages of the interview process. So one job could be my second interview, and the next week could be a brand new job, the first interview there. And I like doing that just because like it helps out with like, okay, if I didn't get this job, cool, I have another one as a backup. I'll keep applying to jobs. That was my job. Honestly, I was looking on LinkedIn, doing a job search alert, making sure once a job appears, like I'm right there, the first one to respond, make sure that cover letter is good, make sure, the skills are aligning here and there. Again, it's been like a month because I got laid off in the beginning of the January. So it's towards the end of February or middle of February, I forget. And I finally got down to two companies that, I got to the last stage of interviews. And the first one I heard them out, it was like a global agency, right? Like I've worked for a digital marketing agency. I worked for big agencies, worked for small agencies. This agency job, it got acquired by a bigger agency. So they were trying to get some people local to the Atlanta area. I presented to the people there. But the one problem with bigger companies and bigger agencies is that they're not flexible with their salary pay. Like they have a range, but they really can't go over that range. So as much as I killed it, because I knew I killed the interview, man. I knew what I was talking about with my years of experience and all that stuff. And this was specifically an SEO role. I was very confident. Like at that time, I honestly didn't want to apply to digital marketing agency just because I've been there, done that. I kind of want to work for an actual company. I do like the structure of working for a real company. Anyway, beggars can't be choosers. So I applied anyway. So anyway, I got to the digital marketing agency and specifically for SEO. And during that time, I don't want to get too technical for all the people that are not into marketing or not into SEO, but like AI, was a big thing, just changing the game for SEO. And we didn't know if SEO was going to die or change. There's a lot of uncertainty, right? Where a lot of agencies were letting go of their SEO people just because AI was handling most of the jobs, or they were pivoting towards something else. Anyway, so for me, I kind of also, I don't know, I can make another video too about my thoughts of SEO and where it's leading up to and everything like that. I kind of wanted to go more general marketing, like digital marketing, like handling other things like email or social media or paid, or not just SEO. Even though I love SEO, I love what I do, I'm good at what I do. I just feel like as a person, I wanted to grow more. Like when I was working for the tech, I was handling not just SEO, I was handling all types of marketing, which is great. But anyway, going back to the digital marketing agency. So when they offered me the job, they talked to salary, I talked to different people. I was kind of countering back to them. I was like, hey, this is pretty low. And I told the person that initially, the recruiter for that agency, like told them initially, hey, your salary is this much, but like I'm looking for this range, right? Which is out of the range that they provided for me. And the recruiter person was like, oh yeah, that's negotiable. That's fine. Whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. And I go, so my mentality was, okay, I'm interviewing for this job just because the salary is negotiable. I'm going to show off my skills and what I know and get paid based on my experience. But that was not the case. No. They talked to a different person, and I even told them, like, hey, I told you my salary. And they're like, yeah, unfortunately, they went like $2,000 above. And they were framing it. So it's like, oh, because we're offering 401k and insurance, that leverages out to a $15K increase. And I was like, yeah, but I'm looking for base. Like, I don't care. Like, what happens if like you keep the 401k, you keep your insurance, and just add that to my base? Is that possible? It's like, no, the way taxes work, that's not possible. And so I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. So I was like, well, let me think about it, because during that time, I also got offered a different job offer from a different company, like I said. And on my mind, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna see what's out there, see what's a better offer, right? And honestly, I did like this company a lot better, and it was a startup. So that was my only fear, because I did work with a startup, and startups can go bust. They can go, there's a lot of cons to working for a startup, but there's also a lot of pros to working for a startup. So in my mind, I did like the company owners. I did like what they were about. I did like the team members. It was a small group. It was local to the Atlanta area. The drive wasn't as far either, so that was a great big plus. The salary was a little bit better than the agency, so obviously it's a no-brainer, right? The only thing was that the job was different. It was more of a general digital marketing position, which was great, right? But like, I would be doing so much. And honestly, like, I know SEO, right? So I did the audit of their website. They're out of the website. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of freaking work. Like, it was going to be just like an overhaul of me doing a lot of things. And man, in my mind, I'm like, okay, what do you got to lose? Kinds of like, do you want to work for an agency in global position, a global agency? And like, yeah, you get if you do accept a lower salary, you could probably move up because it's a global. So the thing is with global agencies, like I've worked with global agencies, like you do move up, right? You do move up the corporate, it's corporate ladder, right? You move the corporate ladder and move salary with different positions. So there was opportunity for growth. It's a little more stable too because it's a global agency and versus a startup where it's more of like, who knows where this goes, it's all up to you and the job growth. It just depends on if the company makes money or not. So those are my options, just two options: more stable career, but lower salary, or more of a startup, less stable career, taking a chance on things, And I talked to my wife about it. And of course she was, as supportive she was no help. She was like, what do you think is best? I'm like, all right, cool. Thank you for that information. So I thought about it and I was like, I have a kid on the way. What is the best way to do this? I was like, we're first started before. Let's test it out. And why not? And I talked to the company owners and they also, I negotiated my salary. So like I said, it's one of the best things about having a startup, working for a smaller company. They're more flexible with negotiations of salary versus like bigger companies, bigger corporations. And I was able to get to the salary where it was feasible for me to be like, okay, cool. I will work for you guys for this X amount of salary. And yeah, that's where I got the job. I felt really hopeful because I started like in February. I don't remember exactly what week in February, but I started working for them. And again, they didn't have an onboarding process at all. It was like, I worked for startups before, so I'm kind of used to it. And thankfully, like, I knew what to do. Like, I'm experienced, with many years of marketing. I basically knew how to do the job, even though there was no like direction from them. Direction from the owners was very general, right? So it was up to me to be like, okay, I got to organize this. My tasks to do. I write them down, everything. And I use Trello, a Trello board. People use Notion. People use whatever they want to use. I like Trello board. It gives me accountability in terms of what I'm going to do. More organized. Again, I can make another video for this. I just want to talk about the layoffs in general for this specific videos. But man, that whole like month of uncertainties of getting jobs and whatnot, and it still sucked. And the added pressure of becoming a father and having no job sucked even worse. And it just sucked because my pregnant wife is working and she actually works an hourly job. She's a nurse, so she's on her feet. And working while you're pregnant, it's not the best. I'm assuming. Obviously, I don't know, but it's hard, like going through your pregnancy symptoms and you're working as well. So much props to my wife. Kind of feel bad. Like I feel like a bad husband. Like dude, like it's my job to provide. Like why must I be given this difficult road, even though I've been through it again? It's just you just feel like a crappy person, and you always want to provide help that person out. And a lot of negative thoughts were creeping on you. Like when you're interviewing, like it's like, am I gonna get this job? When am I gonna get this job? I need the money. Rent's coming in, food, groceries, stuff for the baby, diapers, all that stuff. And it's also a little bit of embarrassment around being laid off. Like you don't want to tell your colleagues or your friends that you worked with that worked in other industries. It's kind of a little shameful. I'm not gonna lie to you that I got laid off. I don't know. I just want to let everybody know that it's okay to feel that kind of things, man. And like it's gonna happen when it's gonna happen. You go through the process, go through your feelings. It's okay to feel all that stuff. The one thing I advise you not to do is to give into those negative thoughts. Just keep it positive. Always keep trying. Always keep going. Working hard for it. Even if you don't know, even if you don't know it, keep trying. Keep applying. Don't give up. Like you never know what's going to happen in a month or so. The first couple of weeks of being laid off sucks because you've got to make the resume. You got to do the interviews. Got to apply. Make sure you get those interviews. Got to test them out, your resume, and see if it works to get those interviews. Anyway, I just want to tell anybody like, hey, if you're in a different position, reach out to somebody, talk to somebody. Thankfully, I have my wife. I can share things with her and be honest with her. I'm a friends as well. Good support group. But like, honestly, just because you got laid off does not mean you were bad at your job. Maybe you were, I don't know. But like, I'm assuming you were good at your job and you just get laid off just because the climate wasn't there. The budget cuts, new technology coming in that made your kind of job less impactful or something like that. I don't know. Listen, whatever the reason was you got laid off, just know it really wasn't your fault. You did everything you could. And sometimes you can't, and this is my opinion, you can't put your eggs in all one basket. So right now, I'm still doing freelancing because it did help out with some of my bills. And I think I'm always going to do freelancing. And I don't know if I'm going to build out my agency or not, but as of right now, I'm just keeping a couple clients, and just because you never know. You can't just rely on one job, one income, and think, oh, they're never going to lay me off. Because honestly, I work for jobs where I got laid off. Like I said before, like, the mergers happen, they got acquired by different companies and the branch shut down. That's actually how I got into digital marketing in the first place, because I was working for Fox and Disney, and Disney had bought Fox, and my branch got shut down because of the merger. And so I decided to go to a different career. Even going with a different career, layoffs still occur. So just letting you know, everybody, it can happen to anybody. So don't worry about it if it does happen to you. You're still a good worker. You're still good at what you do. Just be confident and just be positive towards that, and just keep applying. That's all I can say. Just keep applying, keep a positive face in the interview, keep positive energy. And sometimes I know it sucks because you're interviewing, you're so tired. You're just like your 43rd interview, your 40th, 30th, 20th interview. I don't care how many times you do it. It gets tiring. It gets annoying. You say the same things. You say the same story. You say the same, hear the same questions. It's very hard on a person, and people don't think oh, you're just interviewing jobs, how tiring it can be. It's very tiring, it's a mental tiring as well as being prepared. Or sometimes you really want this job, right? And you over prepare for it, you overdo it, and then you just bomb the interview because you get so nervous because you really want the job. That's happened to me before. So don't worry about it, again, if you have any more questions, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm trying to be more active on here in this channel. I am going to start making social media videos just here and there. YouTube videos, maybe once a while. This content just takes a lot longer for me to make. Got to edit the video, whether social media is more short form videos where I can just crack out a video and help you guys out. But anyway, just follow me on social media if you do want to listen to these kind of stories, or just what topic you want me to hear. I've worked for so many companies, worked for so many corporations, small, little. I've worked for, like I said, agency life has given me a lot of range of industries, of small companies, small companies. I also worked for actual big corporations, in-house. I work for, I work for tech. I work for Fortune 500 companies, like I said, Fox and Disney. So it's not just marketing, but other things, right? Other industries that I worked for. Hopefully this helped you out, guys. Honestly, for me, it's just letting my voice out, hearing my stories, see if you guys can relate or not. And again, if you have any questions, I'll try to respond back. Like I said, my baby was born now, so I have a lot of less time available, but I do want to give back to this community that's given back to me. I'll try to respond back to videos, but like I said, I have a baby now, so it's kind of hard. But I'm trying to find a way to help keep myself accountable and make these videos as well. So anyway, if you guys still like this, please leave a comment, subscribe. Let me hear your thoughts. Why'd you get laid off, and you're just looking for a job? Maybe I can help you with tips here and there. Maybe I can make a video of how I got a job. I'm very fortunate that I'm getting hit up by companies, still getting interviews in this job climate. So maybe I can give you tips here and there. So just let me know. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Talk to you later.